Alright, it's a beautiful day out here in Burlington, Ontario. Nice and sunny, and a nice view of this lineup here of Challengers. So I guess today's video is going to be really, which Challenger should you buy? Or which one is most convenient, I guess would be the other way to say it. Or are you looking to have this as a fun car or an everyday car? Well, I'm going to explain to you which one I think you should purchase if you're looking at an everyday car, or if you're looking to just have a fun car. This is going to be an educational video to let you know what I would go with personally. So let's start up with the lineup. So over here in this Destroyer Gray, we have a SRT 392 Challenger. So I'm going to exclude the Hellcat out of this video simply because I wouldn't recommend that as exactly a convenient car. 707 horsepower is a lot to drive as your everyday car. However, I mean, you could, but I'm just going to keep it out of the video because quite honestly it's just at a different trim level as opposed to the ones that I'm going to be talking about today. And of course here we have the TA in the Screen Go. Moving on to over here, we have a Scat Pack shaker with obviously the 392 in it. Now I won't just talk about the shaker in specific, I can also just talk about a regular Scat Pack. This one here that I have though is a shaker, so I will be just showing you this one to kind of talk about the differences and similarities to the others, and of course an RT or an RT shaker. And I personally, from a looks perspective, which one looks the nicest to me out here, I'd probably go with the Scat Pack shaker or the SRT as far as a look perspective goes. Now obviously the RT shaker is very similar to the Scat Pack, but now the bottom lip is something that's different. As you can see, there's a much bigger bottom lip here as opposed to here. Here you've got about, I'm going to say 2 inches of lip. Here you've got about 3-4 inches of lip, so quite a big difference there. And obviously the TA and the SRT also have about that same lip as the Scat Packs, so pretty much when you get into a 392 you're getting that 3-4 inches more of lip on the bottom, which looks a lot better from the side profile, as you can see, than the side profile of the RT. So from a looks perspective, yeah, I'd go with the Scat Pack shaker out of these here, then probably the SRT or the TA. I'm not a huge fan of how the TA final kind of ends here on the bottom. I kind of wish they ended it at the hood like the old TAs did. I understand that obviously the old TA hood ended right here, not in the middle, and had bumper. This one has bumper right here. The old TA hoods, you could actually open them from here, not here. So that's the reason why this stripe on this one goes downwards. So, but the TA stripe does look really good on it. I guess the Green Go isn't exactly the greatest looking color with the black. I mean, I know I've done a video on a yellow jacket TA and that looks amazing. So it really depends on colors too, but out of these four that I'm comparing today, definitely go with the pitch black shaker Scat Pack over here. So let's talk about the differences really here. So obviously on this shaker here on the RT, it would just say shaker. Now if it was just a regular RT, it would just be a flat hood and it would look like this. Now where you would notice the difference between these two if they didn't have the shakers, obviously on this shaker it says 392 Hemi, the difference would be down here. So as you can see, this says Hemi, this has the Rumblebee. Now they do have the same rims, so you wouldn't really be able to tell by the rims, but that Rumblebee would really be the big identifier to letting you know. Now these stripes you can also get on the Scat Pack as well. As you can see, this is a Scat Pack here in Destroyer Gray, and it has those exact same stripes as the RT does. So obviously this one doesn't, but you can get it. So technically these cars are pretty much the same, and the only thing that would really give it away is pretty much that emblem on the side there of the Rumblebee or the Bumblebee, whatever you'd like to call it. That would be the biggest giveaway. Now if you come here on the back, biggest noticeable difference from the back side of these is this TA says Challenger TA on the very back. Same with the SRT. It actually says SRT on the spoiler on the back here. Now if you look at, again, the Scat Pack and the RT, they don't say anything. And that would be, again, why these two are very similar. And they both have this exact same tire width as well, because obviously they have the same rim size and all of that. So as far as that goes, those two are very similar. However, this TA and SRT are very similar in looks as well. Besides all the vinyl and the blacked out hood, these guys are pretty much the same. I mean, you have the 392 symbol there on the side. Now that's obviously in vinyl, which I'm not a huge fan of why they did the vinyl there, but that 392 Hemi looks really nice. That badging right there on the side, it pops a lot more, I think, than the vinyl on the side. Same goes with the back. I believe they put some sort of sticker on this back here, the TA. I kind of wish they did what they did with the SRT, where it's actually like physically an object pasted on the back there. It just looks much better, and I that's just my personal opinion. Now, every one of these cars has a black fuel cap except for the SRT. It comes with chrome. Obviously you can change that with aftermarket things, but that would be, I guess, the biggest difference that separates the SRT from the rest of them. There's that chrome cap there and the 392 emblem on the side, plus these rims and the red 6-pin Brimbos pop a lot more too than obviously the black 6-pin Brimbos on the TA. Now it does have 6-pin as well, but the rims are different on the TA. These two are really just in their own class, kind of differences from the Scat Pack and the RT. The Scat Pack and the RT are pretty much the exact same, but when you jump into one of these, you're looking at a little bit of a difference, right? Now, from an interior aspect, the Scat Pack and the TA are pretty much the same from the interior. They both have the exact same suede seats here. Just, I don't know if you can see, I probably should have grabbed the keys for these two, but it says TA on the seat, and here in the Scat Pack, it doesn't say anything actually. It just has the Scat Pack Rumblebee actually on there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but they're pretty much they are the exact same interior except for those emblems being changed, right? Now, as far as adaptive suspension and all of that, you don't get that in the TA. The TA is pretty much on the outside an SRT, but on the inside and everything, it's a Scat Pack as far as options go. Now, a big difference with the TA is obviously you get that other light bulb is gone for intake. If you want it as an option there, you can use it, as opposed to the SRT. Both lights are there. Obviously both light bulbs on the second row light here, it's just halos with a hole. That's something that separates the TA as well from the rest of them. However, still, if from a performance wise, if you're using this car as a performance car, this is the car to go with. No matter what anybody says, I would totally pick the SRT over the TA any day from a performance aspect. You get more options. You can customize with the SRT pages. You don't get SRT pages in a TA. And if we're going to talk about a fun car to drive as your everyday car at a price point, now remember these prices are in Canadian, at a price point that's right around $60,000, this is the car to go with. Now this, you get the most performance, and to me, quite honestly, the best look. I would say probably maybe the Scat Pack's a better look, I'm going to say, but definitely it's a great look, and you pay $60,000 for it. Now, if you're going into a TA, you don't get the SRT pages and all those performance options. However, you're paying a lot more for it. You're paying about $66,000, so about $6,000 to $7,000 difference. And then if you go down to a Scat Pack, you're pretty much looking at the same car here as far as performance wise goes, except for the brakes really are the big major difference, in the tires. But you're looking at pretty much a Scat Pack at around $54,000 to $57,000. This Scat Pack shaker, you can get into a Scat Pack just without the shaker for about $52,000. It's a very base shaker, but you're still getting the Brembo brakes on here. You're still getting a lot of good options. Now these are 4-pin Brembos as well, so it would be a little bit more different. However, I think for a bang for your buck, this is the way to go. Then you get into an RT. So now in RT, you just get the stock factory Challenger not Brembo, the factory brakes, as you can see. No Brembo sign there or anything. They're just the factory calipers. And you do get, though, a very nice look still. You still get that V8 rumble. And to me, this yellow jacket is a really neat color too. It looks sharp. However, I don't know. I just think for this one here is probably around $48,000 to $51,000, right? You can hop into a Scat Pack for about $2,000-3,000 more and get the 392 motor in it, right? So tough choice, I'd say. But I would probably not get an RT if I had the money, you know, right now to spend on up to $67,000, which is this one here. If I had to choose out of these which ones to buy, I'd probably go with the SRT. You get all the performance options and everything with it. You can throw on a supercharger for, you know, $7,000 more. If you have $7,000 more, you can get a pretty decent supercharger out there on the market for $7,000, and you're pushing probably more than a Hellcat. So I mean, yeah, the TA is neat and everything. I just think the price point on them is insane right now. I mean, they are collector's items, so I don't recommend the TA at all to be an everyday driver. But I mean, if you're looking for a performance car, this is the way to go. If you're looking for an everyday driver, yeah, you're probably satisfied with a Scat Pack, I'd say. This is probably the best way to go if you're looking for a nice car to drive every day. Probably go with a Scat Pack, possibly an RT, but I think an RT is a little bit high on the price point compared to, I mean, how much more a Scat Pack is. And you're getting a few better performance options and the bigger motor, right? So I guess that would conclude my video and telling you what I would personally buy. So more than likely I'd go with a Scat Pack or an SRT. I'd definitely stay away from a TA in both scenarios if you were driving it as an everyday car or keeping it as a performance car or even a garage queen. I don't know if I'd even keep it as a garage queen. Possibly if you're looking to keep it for 40 years, it'll probably be worth some money then in 40 years, but most of the people who buy these cars, you know, I don't know, 40 years they're really planning on keeping it. So I really think that the SRT and the Scat Pack are the best bang for your buck or best way to go, in my opinion, considering the sports cars that are out there and the performance that you do get in them and the look. They're just mean looking cars. And I think I'm gonna walk back now so you can kind of see all four of them there, and you can kind of just look for yourself what you think is really the best. But they all look awesome. But I think that Scat Pack wins the overall battle today. Okay guys, this is Stipe from Unique Chrysler. Thank you for watching.